Have your way in everything that is said and done. And bless us, O Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. I would now like to call on the chairman of today's proceeding, our very hard-working councillor for the area, Mr. Shankar Tiloksi.
Good morning all. You may have to take your seats. Make yourself comfortable. As today is we are blessed, and blessings goes a long way today. As today the proceeding is a very simple one, but so important to bring relief for our future generation in the electoral district of Cedros throughout Trinidad and Tobago. So we'll get straight into do some acknowledgement as I acknowledge the principals and teachers and special guests who are here with us today for this historic opening of our Digital Homework Learning Center, and the organization that is here with us, Help TNT. So as I acknowledge the principal of Cedros Secondary, Ms. Cynthia Pancho Sinat, I also acknowledge Principal retired Ainsley Gobor at the head table. I acknowledge Rivana Tiloksing, representing teacher representing the Cedros Government School. And we have other principals who will be here with us a little later as we go along the program. We will acknowledge them. A special acknowledgement and welcome to Pandit Bade Sitahal Maharaj from the SDMS. Put our hands together and give him a happy round of applause. And not even last, but the most important guest that we have with us. And I still use the term the Honorable Gerard Randine because the type of work he's doing throughout Trinidad and Tobago, it's overwhelming. So let's put a man who actually is responsible for this initiative and continue to support the Cedros district and throughout Trinidad. So I know it's very hot. We have light refreshment. Anyone need a little soft drink or water, just go to the office, the first office here, and we will have a light refreshment as we go along. It's a short proceeding as we bring on the first speaker to bring greetings on behalf of the Cedros district, no other than retired principal Mr. Ainsley Gopal.
Thank you, Chairperson and Councillor Cedros area, Mr. Tilokson. As you see, Honorable Gerald Randine, and most of you who are here will know he has been a patriot of Cedros, championing the cause of Cedros, not now, but many years have in the past, so we thank you for that. Pundit, Mrs. Sinat, some of you that may be part of the HELP team, and all other stakeholders, a pleasant good morning. Now, I'm very excited about this because I come from a background in education, and to see something like that is very heartwarming for me this morning. Simply because we had a former Prime Minister that once said that we have scars from that. See, Trinidad and Tobago ended at point 14. And to see that it take NGOs to be coming into our area, they give us what we rightly deserve. Because if you had to check the contribution Cedros has made to the national economy, I mean outside there, where all the fields, it's not Trinidad or it's in Cedros. Councillor will know that. And there has not been an equity in the distribution of that wealth. So it's good this morning to see that there are some NGOs that knowing that Cedros, and we are not singular in that effect, there are other remote communities that are suffering. So this project, and I like the words hope, empathy, love, and hopefully all that would lead to prosperity. And this project itself will be in a form, the vehicle for not only social, but economic transformation for this entire area, and it redounds, and maybe we could be, a roadmap here in Cedros. But I do hope the ones in charge of the project that we don't miss the target and you achieve your objective, simply because I want to, sometimes Organization may have objectives, but what are the needs of the community? And in that regard, I hope that you go to the principals, you go to the students and find out what are their needs, and then tailor whatever you have structured there so that it meets the needs of the people in the area, and it is not the other way around. I don't want to be long, but in closing, what I would like to say that I will volunteer, right, my services. I'm retired now, in whatever capacity, and I think I could do some networking, whether it is you need a teacher to come in here to do a maths class on a Saturday, a Sunday, or put down Microsoft Teams and we have classes instead of people physically come into this area. We contact them, they could be in their homes. Everyone is getting devices now, and I hope that this achieve the desired objective. Thank you, and I'm very excited about this project this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Gopal, for those wonderful words of encouragement. And to give you a little feedback or how this really came about. And I know Mr. Ramdeen will go in more in depth. But when one of the things we should have mentioned too, we have COVID-19 restrictions, and I hope everybody, we adhere to the restrictions that we at least maintain in this pandemic that we are, unfortunately. But when in March of this year, my office was overwhelmed with calls from as soon as we had this pandemic for the food initiative, where we actually had to go to a commercial and the business community for assistance. While my phone would call and at the office for assistance for their children. I still up to yesterday, I received calls from a couple of parents, and they were so enlightened and happy that some sort of a relief is coming, because it was very expensive on their pockets for the type of external learning that we are the new normal that we are in right now. So when Mr. Ramdeen called me and he said, Councillor, what do you think about this project? It was so more or less exciting to get this project up and running in so short notice. And again, Helping TNT and Mr. Ramdeen. Again, it is an initiative that I knew for a fact this morning when we acknowledged those children faces and the little ones that at least we are helping, and the secondary schools that children who are here and the teachers will be getting some help from this initiative. It will, as Mr. Gopal said, that it is fully volunteer initiative as we go forward, expanding and building on a foundation set by Helping TNT. So our next speaker, we go straight on to the representative from SDMS, Pandit Badai Sikahal Maharaj, to bring people.
Good morning, Councillor Tilak Singh, Mr. Ramdeen, Mr. Gopal, colleagues in education, all the administrators of the schools, and all these wonderful and beautiful young children with us here, as well as other ladies and gentlemen. It is my very distinct pleasure as the most senior educator in the Mahasabha to be part of today's program, because this is a very important, unique and groundbreaking endeavor in education. For the first time, we are taking education to the community. Not the community coming to a building for education, but education being delivered to the community. And when we look at the tagline, putting children first, it always reminds us that no child must be left behind. Regardless of distinction, of geographical location, of background, whatever the differences are, we must always ensure that our children get the best educational opportunities that are available. And so to have such an educational program at the level and the quality that is going to be delivered, that is very, very important for all our children in this community and surrounding communities. In education, we always talk about three important principles: access, equity, and quality. And just to say one dimension of it this morning, which is so very important, because when our children lack access to education, now there are individuals who are bringing that education to them. And not only bringing the education to them, but delivering equity. Equity means giving the resources that are needed. Not only the devices, the technological devices and the environment, but also the management and the structures of the program. If you look at today's newspaper, you will see the high level quality of the structure that is going to be part of this program. So we must have all our children availing themselves of opportunities for education. We must also ensure in our country that resources are equitably, no one is left out of the education system. That is one of the greatest tragedies of any country, whenever children are locked out of educational opportunities. And also, this venue and this program will deliver high quality education. When one looks at the resources that are provided, when one looks at the management structures that will be part and intrinsic to the program, one realizes it is not just some ordinary program. It is a very unique program, well thought out, deep insight and quality management of the program. So we wish well to all the students, all the individuals who will avail themselves of the opportunities that this particular educational opportunity will provide. And we know, of course, bringing education to the community is one of the greatest things that we can do. Thank you.
So we go straight on to the next speaker to bring greetings, Ms. Sinat from the Cedros Secondary School.
Thank you very much, Mr. Laxing. The members of the head table, congregation or audience. Okay, I know most of you, but a pleasant good morning to all of you. Okay, I recently joined this community of Cedros. Actually, tomorrow is going to be 1 year since I started as the principal of Cedros Secondary School. And I am not personally from the community, but I am very acquainted with the community as far as Granville and so on, as I have relatives who live here. So the community is no stranger to me. Okay, but when I accepted this appointment, you know, I knew that this is a very warm community. And from the very day that I came down to this area, you know, I could always testify to it, that the people have been very warm and welcoming. Okay, so when I heard about this initiative, you know, I know it's something that's very much welcome, especially now in our new normal. Okay, it's in our, we have already had the technology, but you know, now we are forced to go into a particular direction. And obviously we have to put our children first. So that's why looking at the banner, I'm really impressed. You know, it seemed that's very well thought out. And this is exactly what we want to portray in this community, to put our children first, because they may be deprived, because they may be so remote from everything else that's happening in the country, but they are so blessed at the same time. So we want to preserve the community, but this is an effort to bring technology to the community. So I really applaud the efforts of all those who had a part in this activity, and we know that our children will benefit. Okay, the parents have been trying because they value education. So they have been trying to acquire devices. You know, they have been making quite a lot of sacrifices. But this will really help others who will really can't afford, and even for all of us, because we know with technology how they are at times. Okay, we may have all the resources there, but we have one little issue and that's it, you know, they shut down. So this will be an open facility, I gather, for the children in the community, and even for the teachers and the others, because we don't stop learning. As adults, we are forced to learn, because we have to lead and guide our children in the homes. Parents, I'm sure you realize that we are taking a different role, because you are like the teacher in the home. You have to ensure that the child is getting the work online and they're doing what they are supposed to do. So we need to learn too. Okay, don't say the technology is not in my era. Let's all embrace learning. It is going to benefit all of us and it's going to benefit the community. So I'm very happy for the invitation. Okay, I just took a couple of minutes to step away from school and the activities. You know, it can be very busy, but this is extremely important. So I really commend you all and I hope that we will really benefit from the resources provided. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Cedros, for your presence here with us. Students, you know, I can't reiterate the point that is so important for you because of the fact that the problems that I know many of students are having within the communities of Granville, Bogram Tracy, Carcass, Bamboo, and so on. Because the calls come in, you go on social media, you will see it. And when we highlighted this issue, it was more or less to bring support for our education system. That was it totally. I know for a fact that the first article that came out with the media, and I must welcome the media here with us today, who are present from Mr. Ian Alleyne Media House, and also other medias that are streaming with us. So I think yesterday there was an article on the Guardian commending TNT and also Mr. Randy for the initiative. So we must take full advantage and continue to build, and that's the call. I know Ms. Sinat did made some representation for better equipment and also some sort of support base from the Carcass Government School, Ms. Walters and others. Continue to lobby for your benefit. And the purpose of all of this is for you, our future generation, to take advantage so that we have a better society, you will have a better family life in terms of taking full advantage of your schooling and setting your foundation for a better generation of Trinidad and Tobago. So we move from more or less the administrative side, and I want to bring a very young, talented individual from Cedros, Fullerton to be exact, to bring greetings on behalf of the students and his experience and past experience, how this pandemic affected his future and continue to build his future in education and so on. So I bring on Justin Sadu for bringing a few words on behalf of the students of the Cedros district.
Morning to everyone. I am basically here to represent a community in the form of sports. My experiences, what I've been through in this COVID time. So basically, well, I am a member of the Trinidad and Tobago national football team. I was a member of the under-20 national team. And well, being from Cedros is always a pride and always a privilege to represent down here because we often have been overlooked. So I just want to encourage youths in this COVID time to follow your dreams because you never know where it could take you, where it could carry you, because it's always a privilege and an honor, I say, to represent this community and this country. So basically, in the times now, you don't really have any sporting activities going on, so it's always a challenge. But I encourage everyone, you know, to stay strong, to stay healthy. Try to keep your mind and your body healthy because you never know when a privilege or opportunity will come. So I just comment and encourage the youths to stay strong, to keep your mind focused on whatever you're doing, especially during this time because, as I say again, I never know when an opportunity will come.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you for those words of encouragement. Alright, so we move straight into some some distributions of some basic packages that we have presented to the primary school. We need Ms. Sunita. Could you bring up the first 10 primary school students? Mr. Pandit Bade Sitahal Maharaj, could you come forward to do the distribution, please? So on behalf of Help TNT, we present you with these small tokens, and very valuable tokens. Okay, thank you, but I'll move straight on to our featured speaker today, no other than attorney and past senator, the Honorable Judge Randy.
Thank you, Mr. Cedros. Pandits who are here, all religious leaders, principals, teachers, students, parents. This is a very special moment for me in the Cedros Ikakas community. A few weeks ago, one of my staff members brought to my attention, my office had asked for permission to bring their children, to the office in order for the children to use. There were 3 young children one of my staff members have, and they sought permission to come to the office in order that their children could use the internet at the office. And of course, having it brought to my attention, we allowed the children to come to the office to use the internet services. And then shortly thereafter, another staff member brought to my attention that one of our clients had asked whether he could come and use the photocopy at the office because he couldn't afford the photocopies for his children who had to do virtual classes and they didn't get any packages from the Ministry of Education. And it is those 2 incidents that planted the seed for what we see bearing fruit today, because it brought to my attention the situation that is pervasive throughout Trinidad and Tobago, which is that in rural communities, there are many parents and many students who, despite the best will and the best intentions and the best efforts, they are still faced with the challenges of dealing with virtual learning. Up to this morning, right here when we were organizing this, I've had parents say that their child is doing classes on WhatsApp. And despite all of that has been said, there is a considerable amount of children who on a daily basis are unable to access education. And I don't want to go into a long speech this morning, but even though it's not written in the Constitution, the right of a child to get an education is almost like a fundamental right in every country today. Trinidad and Tobago, as a country, is a party to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. And there is an article in that convention that cements the fact that a child's education, pre-primary, primary and secondary, is almost has grown into what is not what we could today is called a fundamental right for each child. And that right is being deprived to every child every day who is not able to access material, the internet, devices, photocopies, to be able to put themselves in a position to guarantee to themselves an education. And I can tell you this, you know, I can speak from example. I can say the difference between a seamstress and a lawyer is one generation. Because my mother is a seamstress. She's so close for people in our village to send me to school. And the only thing that we had as a family, my parents never got past primary education. And the only thing that we had to get us out of the situation that we found ourselves in is an education. Education is the key that unlocks that cell of poverty in all rural districts. Education is the way out. The greatest thing that you can give to a child is not a car, it's not a house, it's not land, the greatest thing that you can give to a child is the opportunity to have a proper education. And that is what this initiative is meant to do. It was very easy to go into any community in Trinidad and Tobago and rent an office and outfit it as best as we could and provide that opportunity to any community, whether it be in Maraval, Arima, Valsain, Chaguanas, Cuva, San Fernando. We chose to come to Icacos. And we chose to come to Icacos and Cedros deliberately, because Icacos and Cedros has been one of the communities, and I make no apology about saying it, that has been neglected. And when I say neglected, I'm not only speaking about neglected in an economic way. Since Petrotrin has closed down, we came, and I want to highlight, I make no apology about saying that as well, I want to highlight the good work that your councillor has done in this area. I think he deserves a special round of applause. A few months ago, and that is why we know this community so well, and that is why we've come here. A few months ago, many of the companies that used to work in the oil and gas sector in this region, in this part of the country, were closed down. Mr. Shankar brought my office into a meeting, and there were 46 employees that worked over 10 and 15 years for a company that was closed down when Petrotrin was closed down. And despite working for 10 to 15 years, sometimes 20 years, those workers couldn't get their severance after they were terminated. And today I can stand here proudly and say that we represented those workers brought to us by Mr. Tilak Singh, and every single one of them have received what they are entitled to. And it is not important about the receiving, you know. The receiving is important for the fact that they will now be able to provide for their families and their children. That is why it is important. We deliberately came to this community because we don't want the southwestern peninsula to be neglected anymore. We don't want the children to be neglected anymore. The next Prime Minister could come from Cedros or Icacos or Fullerton. When people talk about Icacos, Cedros and Fullerton, all they think about is fishing. Right? The fishing community has almost gone dead, right? Because of piracy and because of the fact that people cannot go in the, when they go in the sea now, they robbing you, taking away your boat, your engine, and you have to pay on top of that. Listen, the children of Icacos and Cedros, Fullerton, Fanny Village, they are no less entitled to a proper education, just like the children from Cuva, San Fernando, Port of Spain, Maraval, Scarborough. It is no different. It makes no sense standing here and saying every creed and race must find an equal place, when at the end of the day, the children of Cedros and Icacos cannot get an equal share of the resources of this country. And today that will stop. Because today, the children of Cedros and Icacos will be on par. They will have unlimited internet access for their schooling. They will have unlimited photocopies, whether it be by the principals or the teachers. I want to highlight what Mr. Gopal has said. Mr. Gopal, you made a very important point. This is the initiative that we have brought here, and not very often you hear people say it, but we are begging you to make the full use of it. We couldn't bring all the students here today. We couldn't bring all the parents. We couldn't bring all the teachers because we have to abide by the COVID regulations. But what we have done is that we have provided you with a digital classroom, fully equipped with laptops, a large photocopier for you to make all your copies. For the principals who are here, give notice to the staff. I want to highlight the fact that we've not just set up a room there and put equipment in it and expect that it will operate just like that. We have the services of two distinguished people, Ms. Sherry Ali and Ms. Rishpati Maharaj, who through this incentive are two qualified teachers who will man this facility for the benefit of the children of these areas. And I would ask the principals and the teachers to take full advantage of the opportunity. We are in a situation that is very perilous in our country, which is that if we don't take charge and we don't take responsibility for our children, the generation that is expecting that we will do something for them, we will lose them. We've had children, principal, you understand, we have children who have been home for more than 6 months now. And they are idle if they don't have work to do, and it provides a fertile ground for temptation to feed on them, to take up the opportunity to do something that is wrong. And we've provided something to take up the opportunity to do something that is right. For yourselves, let the parents come and take advantage of this facility. It is something that can change and we hope will reform the community of Cedros and Icacos. Not many people understand that with the internet, you will come to your virtual classroom here and you don't have access to the classroom or to Trinidad or to Icacos. You have access to the world. You have access to all the learning material that is possible, that will give you the tools that you can use to provide yourself with that opportunity to make a meaningful contribution to yourselves, to develop the talents that God has given to you, to make a meaningful contribution to your community, your village, your society, to Trinidad and Tobago, and to make a meaningful contribution to the world at large. Cedros is blessed, Cedros and Icacos is blessed with some of the most industrious people. You will have to work the hardest, because at the end of the day, the obstacles that are placed in your path, right, are perhaps more difficult to climb and get over than in any other part of the country. But be that as it may, today will be a change. Today, Cedros and Icacos will be changed. The children of the 7 schools that we highlighted, right, will have the opportunity to come, right, and have all the facilities as though you are in any other classroom in this country. I want to thank all of the people that have contributed to this project. My entire team, Help TNT. You see our watchwords: hope, empathy, love, and prosperity. Those are the values that we want to instill in the children of these communities. I want to ask the parents to spread the word around in each community that you come from, in each school that you come from, so that all of the students, nobody is left behind. You have an opportunity here of a lifetime. And I want to say today that we have chosen Cedros and Icacos as our first project. And we will continue to go into the other rural communities and to be able to provide the same service that we provided to Cedros and Icacos to the children throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And hopefully we will be able to realize the dreams of each and every one of you. Every single one of you. The last thing I want to say is this. I want to pay tribute to you, Pandit Bade Sital Maharaj. You have taken the time to come to Cedros. You are one of the most hard-working, dedicated educators that we've had in this country. You have given of yourself selflessly to the education of children. And to that extent, Trinidad and Tobago is indebted to you for the work that you've done through the Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha. All of the success that institution has reaped and will reap in the coming years has been as a result of the hard work that you've done. And I want to ask you on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago today to continue. Do not be discouraged. Continue to do the hard work. Continue to be as committed and dedicated as you have always shown yourself to be. And I am sure that opportunity will arise that will give you even a greater opportunity to serve the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I want to thank Mr. Devchan Ramdani, who has contributed significantly to getting this project off the ground. I want to thank the company CMR Stationery of Marabella. And I want to thank, pay special tribute to Mr. Sadiq Baksh, who was here till late last night. He was one of the persons who conceptualized this project, brought it to fruition, and though he's not here presently today, I'm sure he's here in spirit. I hope that at the end of the day, that the smiles that you see on the faces of the children as they receive their packages, their supplies, and be able to use this facility will grow throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And we can do exactly what we've said in the motto of Help TNT, which is to build back Trinidad and Tobago one child at a time. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, Mr. Ramdeen. We move straight on to the secondary school children who are here present. could you come forward? Mr. Ramdeen, could you make a presentation? So,
All of the other children who are present
primary
here,
school?
can you please come forward?
Okay, so as we could all the children just come forward? We want to just take a photo shot with Mr. Ramdeen. As that's happening, I just want to say, as we say, thank you to Kamala Maharaj for the national anthem. Our officiating Pandit Naresh, thank you. On behalf of the committee, we say special thanks for being here, taking the time off. Also, I want to thank Debbie Sadhu for the opening prayer. Thank you, Messina, for being present with us. Pandit Maharaj, thank you for being here with us, taking the time. Mr. Gopal, thank you. Mr. Luxing, thank you for the time you take. Our resident, Mr. and Mrs. Ramdani, thank you for giving us the opportunity to be part, and at least again, special thanks for at least helping this, especially Cedros district. And our media, official media, thank you for being with us. Parents and students, thank you for making this official. And we, again, you are the one to make this foundation and the investment on behalf of Help TNT. Special thanks to our Honorable Gerald Ramdeen and his team, and we can put our hands together and give them a happy round of applause. So with the principal, teachers, and the secondary school students, we will have opened the center, so we'll have a viewing of what equipment and service that is there inside. And then after, if we have any primary, well, yeah, okay, we have the primary schools teacher. So
I'll ask Mr. Steelux to welcome to open the facility and to accompany the teachers and the principals. Pandit, okay, please feel free, give your blessings. Mr. Steelux, let Pandit narrate to her as you open the facility.
Come back for a drink, please. Look, there's a drink here. Don't you come and collect a drink, please.